Good morning, good morning. Yes, it is morning because I am early today for our conversation on surrendering. Um, so I'm going to do what I do and share, and I hope that you will do the exact same thing. Then I'll go into my spiel and say my hellos and all that great stuff so I can chop it out in the beginning in order to share this on my YouTube channel. So I hope that you will do the same. And give me a second. Okay. Let me see. Let me share. I'm coming. I'm going to come and say hello to everybody. Just give me a second. And as a reminder, if I don't see your hello on, because I'm using my mobile device, it's not intentional. It's just that Facebook is not friendly every now and again. So I see a few. If you're watching this but you haven't tapped in to look at the picture, be sure that you have. So I see Pamela there. I see Miss Robin there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm glad to have you all here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm messing with stuff. I need to leave alone. So I'm glad to have everybody here, and eventually the hellos will show up in my news feed, I'm guessing. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, I got a lot going on. Hi, Casey. So we are. Let me get my thing in. Let me get my spiel in. Hello. I am Tina C. Hines, Life Transformation Specialist, working with women on a journey from hurting to healing to happiness. If I could ever be of service to you, you can go to tinachines.com and schedule your session or our conversation. So we have been having a wonderful discussion over the past week and a half about surrendering. And I am going to be continuing that discussion. And we're going to talk a little bit about something that I'm quite sure at one point in our lives, one of us has experienced it. So just to reiterate, the past few days when we were talking about the major ways of handling our feelings were suppression, repression, expression, and escape. But now we're going to go into how those three areas sort of roll into another challenge that many of us experience. If you've ever experienced stress in your life, press the number 1. If you've ever experienced stress in your life, press the number 1, because that is what we're going to hit on this morning. Stress is the culprit of a lot of things, and it's attributed to a lot of what we experience in our lives, but we have to recognize we have to recognize the trigger of the stress in order to work through the stress. So I'm almost about to give you the back end versus before giving you the forefront. So let me just go through the message that is here. Casey Crawford, you are too funny. So if you haven't tagged 5 of your friends to join us, get them in here. So we're talking about feelings and Can I just be honest with y'all for a minute? It's nothing personal, but I have a very huge issue when other people or other things or other situations wreak havoc on us. And instead of placing ownership with the thing, the person, the situation, we use two people as a scapegoat. Two spirits, two whatever you choose to call them. When I say them, you decide what you want to call them. Often we'll say, I'm waiting on God. So you're using God as a scapegoat of you being unwilling to make a move. The flip side of that, something goes horrible in your life. And you will say, the enemy or the devil is busy. No, the enemy or the devil isn't busy. I'm not giving a person or a thing an out. If Lynette hurt me, I'm going to say, Lynette hurt me. If Casey hurt me or said something, I am not going to say, ooh, the enemy is busy. I'm going to be like, Casey over there busy as all hell. That's what I'm going to say. Because in mind's eye, I can deal with Lynette. I can deal with Casey. I don't know about the enemy, the devil, or whatever. I need to be able to deal with the situation based on the person who delivered it. That's how I operate. Everybody may be different, but I just believe that's my truth. So I told you, I got to be a little bit honest with y'all. I'm not allowing anything else to be the scapegoat for what someone else did. I'm giving ownership to whoever it belongs to, because I can deal with you. So when we talk about stress, and the reason why that was triggered was because it says, it is they or it that is thought to be the culprit, when in fact what we are feeling is merely the letting out of inner pressure of repressed emotions. And you all remember we discussed repressed emotions the other day. It is these repressed feelings that make us vulnerable to external stress. The real source of stress is actually internal. It is not external, as people would like to believe. The readiness to react with fear, for instance, depends on how much fear is already present within to be triggered by a stimulus. Let me read that again for some of y'all, because this is where surrendering is going to have to let some shit go, y'all. The readiness to react with fear. I'm afraid I'm not going to be successful. I'm afraid this is going to happen. I'm afraid somebody's going to say this. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. You've already made up in your mind your fear. It's already present. And it's triggered. The more fear we have on the inside, the more our perception of the world is changed to a fearful, guarded expectancy. Many people around the world are currently living in fear. If somebody coughs on me, I'm going to get COVID. If somebody breathes on me, I'm going to get COVID. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not being around anybody. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. It's valid. But you are living your life in fear. That is internal. To the fearful person, this world is a terrifying place. To the angry person, this world is a chaos of frustration and vexation. To the guilty person, it is a world of temptation and sin, which they see everywhere. What we are holding inside colors our world. If we let go of guilt, we will see innocence. However, a guilt ridden person will see only evil. The basic rule is that we focus on what we have repressed. We focus on what we have repressed. Stress results from accumulated pressure of our repressed and suppressed feelings. The pressure seeks relief, and so external events only trigger what we have been holding down, both consciously and unconsciously. The energy of our blocked off feeling reemerges through our automatic nervous system and causes pathological changes leading to disease processes. A negative feeling instantly causes a loss of 50% of the body's muscle strength and also narrows our vision both physically and mentally. Stress is our emotional reaction to a precipitating factor or stimulus. Everybody write the word stress. Stress is determined by our belief system and their associated emotional pressures. It is not the external stimulus, then, that is the cause of stress, but our degree of reactivity. The more surrendered we are, the less prone we are to stress. The damage caused by stress is merely the result of our own emotions. To relieve the after effects of stress rather than to remove the cause of stress itself. So, let's talk a little bit. Like there's so many stories that are going through my head. So I'm going to use the story of depression only because it's one that I'm very familiar with. Initially, when going through depression, some people, they try to resolve it. Let me rephrase that, because I ain't going to say some people. Some doctors try to resolve your depression with medication. They will talk to you for about 15-20 minutes, and out of a short 15-20 minute conversation, they will come to the resolution that you need a specific drug in order for you to start being okay. They're basing their opinion on textbook and their education and not on the person initially. They make an assumption. How can you diagnose someone's mental state in 15 minutes? That you will pull out a prescription pad and give them a drug. Not always is the resolution a drug, because you have to peel back the layers and understand the culprit of the depression in order to treat it. It's important that you understand that what was the culprit that triggered the depression. And is there a way to start working through it to remove it so the depression no longer exists. Now, let me be clear. At some juncture, there may be the possibility of the need for a prescription. But that can only be determined after a more extensive conversation. Now, let me just be clear. This is the opinion of Tina C. Hines. And you may think differently, and you're totally entitled to it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to our emotional well-being, it is important that we are an active participant in our lives to understand what is the trigger of whatever is going on in our lives and what can we do differently to transform it. Because if we tend to think that medication is going to be the one thing that we transform it, we're treating the, as my former boss used to say, who is a doctor, we're treating the problem. No, we're treating the symptom, but not the problem. You're treating the stress, but you don't know the problem the stress caused. You're treating the depression, but you don't know how you got to the depression. You're treating the problem. You're not treating the problem. You're not treating the problem. Because that's going to require you to pull back some layers. Everyone is not always willing to go there. Because you're going to have to go to a very uncomfortable place. You're going to have to reveal some situations in your life that you have repressed or suppressed for an extended period of time. You're going to be required to get out of your own way if you truly want to heal. Truly. When I started experiencing depression, I started grasping at whatever tools I could get to bring me back to the person I remembered prior to the depression. I started meditating. I started going to Reiki, all of these things that were new to me. I started reading different books. But I still wasn't grasping what had transpired. So it required a conversation with someone who could help me explore a little bit deeper. And as I started exploring, prescriptions wanted to be given. And I'm like, no, you're not right. I'm not using you, and I'm not taking that pill. Until I discovered or tripped upon the right person who could hear me and could help me peel back the layers. And to be full transparency, it got to a point where I said, I think I need a little bit of help because my brain feels like it's always on. Like I'm constantly, our brain is on, but it was a lot of stories going on in my head that, like I often tell you all when I'm working with you, I couldn't compartmentalize at the time. And I said, so I need just a little bit of help. And when I went to another doctor who could do the prescription, didn't know me and was giving me medication that was too strong for me. And I said, that doesn't work. Get another one. That doesn't work. It was like, I had like, I don't even know if I ever threw it away. I had a big bag of different prescriptions. I had a pharmacy going on in my closet in a bag. And then one day I'm like, you guys aren't listening to me, and I can't continue coming here if you're unwilling to hear me. And I was so ornery that my bestie was like, whoa. And my bestie was like, that's not her. She's not normally like that, so we don't know what's going on. And it took me going back to my primary physician, who I had been going to for about 5-10 years. And when I showed her the prescriptions that were given to me, she looked at me and she said, oh my God, you should have never been prescribed this. You're too sensitive for this. And I said, okay, well, what do I do? Because I can't make heads or tails out of a lot of things right now. And I'm being transparent that I need help. And she said, okay. She says, this is what I'll give you. You come back in a week and you let me know how you feel. I'm like, okay, great. But here's what I said to her before I left. I said, I have one goal. Besides getting all this fat off of me because I had gained weight from all the medication. My goal is to not be on these prescription medications for an extended period of time. That's my goal. I don't want to be pill popping Tina. And she said, okay. And she says, and you're going to therapy? I said, yep, faithfully. For 45 minutes. She says, okay, well, we're going to work together so you get to a point where you no longer need them. This is where you have to be your own advocate for what little bit you can understand when you're going through your stressful situation. But you have to be willing to work through your stress. You can't sugarcoat it. You can't toss it in the closet. You can't hide it under the rug. You have to be willing to surrender if you truly, truly want to start healing. The journey is going to have its challenges. But at the end of the day, the results are indescribable. They're indescribable when you get to that place. And that place is amazing. You start to feel like, I'm not going to let as much shit get to me as I used to in the past. You recognize what is a priority for you and your well-being. You determine who and who cannot be a part of your life or you have to love from afar. And you are unapologetic about it. Everybody's not going to get it, and it's not their job to. This is all up to you. So ladies, when we talk about this journey of healing, there are layers to it. There are layers to it. You just have to be willing to pull back one at a time. And there's no rush. The key is simply starting. That's it. The key is simply starting. So, I want to wish you all an amazing, amazing day. And as always, if you would like to have a consultation or a reading or a healing session, you can go to tinachines.com. And if you want to attend one of my international retreats for 2021, you can also register for one of those as well. There's only one spot for each one. And the transformation in Tulum didn't even make it to the website. It sold out before I even got it on the website. But there you go. And if you're not on my mailing list, get it on the website and get on my mailing list. Take care, ladies. Have a great day, and we'll see about tomorrow or the next day. Well, the next day is Thanksgiving, so we'll see about when I'm going to be on again to continue our discussion about surrendering. Take care.